Hello, my friends. Ah, let me say that I have a full list of things here, a full page of a mixed bag of things, if you will, touch on perhaps briefly. Uh, I would always like to keep the videos as short as possible, as well as any reading material I put out, but there's just so much happening at this time, and it keeps expediting as we go forward, that there is so much more to speak about at any given time. And that is a very, very good thing. And, it's everyone's contribution to that, spreading the awareness, spreading their experiences, sharing everything that is happening. And it's so beneficial uh, to each one of you, and to the whole as well. And by doing this, the newly ones that are awakening, they're able to grasp on to what you have there. And it is a guidance for them, because they'll go with what resonates, because that's important. When they follow their heart, they will be guided to what pertains to them at that time. And also there'll be perhaps some higher stuff that I speak of that will not resonate with them, and they will not tend to be in line with that, and for simple reasons, it's just not for them, at their certain stage in their progression. But with this, and what I have found with this whole ascension, and I'm sure many of you can concur, is you have found the same thing, that ones will cycle with their perspective in their inner knowing. And this happens that, perhaps one time one will reject you, but then they'll come back, stronger than ever, saying, yeah, now I see this perspective. And what happens, the reason why that happens is that, when they reject it at first, they're not ready for it. They need to go within their self, within their own guidance, and look at things that are blocking their development, perhaps in that area. But also, having said this, there are many perceptions at this time, and even there are even perceptions that will contradict each other, but they are all correct, because they are correct for the individual and the level that they are at. And, this is a full transition that is ongoing constantly. And, they will keep evolving, which is great. And it's not to, let's say, we're not, as we know, we're not here to hypnotize anyone, or condition them. Everyone, that we assist, that we are open to, and that come to us, you only can do your best in that respect, and offer, what you are guided or you feel to give them. And that's the way we work with this, and if it's not for them, it's, they just go and find what is for them. And there is no issue involved with that. You observe, and you understand that, and you respect that. Um, so, at this time, as I've just said, just so many things happening. So I got a mixed bag of things to, perhaps touch on briefly. I don't wish to get into too much detail with them, but uh, let's have a look, see what I got here. Okay, so in relation to what I just said, what you are actually doing now, where I said, everyone is so busy, there's so much energy coming, and there are so many putting out so many, good things, with the effects of the sun, the Schumann resonance, all of these things are pertinent, and the experiences they are encountering, and the pictures of the clouds, the faces they're seeing, not only in the clouds and tree formations, rock formations, uh, irrefutable faces, that are more than uh, coincidence. As we know, coincidences do not occur, so we know that there is, at the minimum, an intelligence that creates these images for you as well, and it's to keep you interested and in tuned, and perhaps a bit excited, and to keep following along, and keep your vibration high as well. So these things that happen have many, many purposes, and it's all beautiful, of course. um, So what you are doing is you are seeding so many timelines right now at once, and so many of you have become immensely powerful just in the last month or two. It's sitting back here. I have the liberty to speak with so many of you, and not only that, when I do have the time, to glance at some of your posts you're putting out about your experiences and what you're seeing, it's totally and absolutely amazing. And so what you're doing is you're integrating these truths and this magic into these current timelines. So you are building it, and it is having a very rapid ripple effect, of going globally, touching each one that it must at this time, and also expanding like a huge web that keeps new connections and new threads. So that is well underway. So you are seeding the timelines, by sharing your knowledge and your awareness. But now also you added another complement, the gatherings, getting together in the physical and creating new friends. But you're creating the new friends of like-minded. And many of you have been prepared for this time, in the minimum the last few months, but actually several years, as your friends' circles began to change. Many of you were isolated, hardly had a friend at times, and it gave you the divine opportunity, because it was time, to go within and do your inner work and empower yourself to be ready for this jumping out from behind the curtain, and going into the new timelines with everything that you wanted. You're still building it. It's not all still here yet, but as you know, if you reflect back, you don't need me to tell you it's close at hand. If you look back, look how far you have come, and look what you have experienced, just in the very recent past, the magic, the beautiful divine experiences, what you are now seeing with your physical eyes. This is incontestable evidence and proof to you of, how far you've come, that it is real, and what's happening. And also, we should not really, let's say, judge another by saying, they're dumb, they're asleep, they don't see it. No, no, don't do it that way. As I put in the post just a little bit before, see the spark in them, see the good in them, and perhaps project a a good thought towards them, that no, they're awakened, to such a degree, or they're awakening, and keep doing that, because your thoughts um, are very powerful when they're pure and good, and they can assist the others. You're not invading, imposing upon their privacy. You are more so just assisting them, and and that's what this is all about. So we all keep going forward with the good things. There is no dark, no negative, no bad things in this. The only way that you bring these little things in is, through your mentality and part of your divine, let's say, your divine lessons and your learnings and the things that you require to know now to prepare you for the future. So it's these little negative aspects where we go and where we're at higher from this. There is no negativity, there is no dark, there is none of that. However, when you are subjected to these lower timelines that we presently are on, there is, negativity, and there are dark things and all of that. But you at this time are well equipped, as you know. I don't need to tell you this, that you are well equipped to overpower any of that and master it. And you have those abilities, and every day you are getting stronger. And some of you are learning that you do have new gifts. So the more you keep open to them, and the more the fear-based energies like impatience, pissed off, et cetera, the more of those you get rid of, they're replaced with more of your divine prowess of what you are. And again, test it. It's what I always say. Don't take my word for it. And I know that most of you at least are not following blindly here, because you have your own confirmations, and that's why you're there. And we are part of a very real collective, that is doing good things and assisting with this ascension. And that's what it is, to assist everyone. So everyone that has a soul, I'll touch on the minion thing for a minute. Now, I know that some of you have come across this, that you come across in your daily interactions, let's say with people out, if you're shopping or whatever you're doing. You have run across certain individuals that maybe you began to speak to, let's say a cashier or whatever at a Walmart, and you just felt that there was nothing there. And some of you stronger empaths, you go to look into the eye to communicate with the soul, and you find there is nothing there. And you are absolutely correct, because there are ones, as you have seen, we have seen, I have seen them myself. They are minions. They do not have a soul. They are another organic product that was artificially produced. And I don't want to get into detail on that. For those of you that don't believe that, or that you have not come across this, that's great. If you believe they don't exist, that is what you must go with. But for us, that have encountered it and do know that it exists, it's part of our divinity of knowing this. The ones of you that don't believe that minions are there, it may not become part of your development. But the thing is, the overall way to look at this is do not have a preconceived notion that another is wrong, that minions don't exist. And vice versa. Don't believe, that someone that believes minions don't exist, you observe it neutrally, and you don't pass judgment on that perspective, because you know that that perspective is correct for them, and that the perspective you have is correct for you. So therefore, it's not a judgment. You just make an observation and for what you will, but you don't linger on it as well, because it can become distracting. And also, when you try to change your mentality, it can cause conflict. So you don't wish to do that as well. And that's not saying drink the Kool-Aid, if you will. And I know, Christy, if you're watching this, you're probably getting a laugh out of it, but that's good. That's what it's for. So no one drinks the Kool-Aid or wears the rose-colored glasses. Actually, they don't need that because they already know. And I'll drop that subject. Anyway, so there's a little bit of clarification on the minions. So yeah, so again, the abundance, or the awareness you are creating in such more intense forms. It started uh, more noticeably several weeks ago, and it has accelerated, and it's expediting, and it's doing amazing work. As you guys know, you're getting your own confirmations and your reflections back in your outside world and in your interactions with others that are not even awake. You are beginning to notice their cordial politeness, perhaps, and how their demeanor is changing more favorably, and being more amicable and let's say polite and understanding. You want to use that term again, but what you're seeing is a more general relaxed flow, many of you. So you are seeing the effects take place in your reality that you're in now, in the outside world here. So that's a given. And again, I just shared that with any new viewers to let them know that many are seeing it as a reality, that it is occurring as well, even if they are not. It's to let you know that we are seeing it and others are seeing it. Now, uh, and at this time, I know many of you are putting comments out there, and I'm just rambling and speaking, and I rarely look at the comments, but if there's something that I must touch on when you put your comments there, I will be attracted to it. However, I do have a full list here, and on one page at least, and I stopped writing because there could be so much more. So I'll continue and keep the focus on what I wrote down, because I wish to touch on some of these subjects briefly. Many of them have been coming up today, and how I made this list mostly was looking at uh, some comments, but posts from others, from you, that you've been putting out, because there's just so many things happening. So I was taking most of the liberty of this video to just touch on some of these important things and to share with others, so as well. So that's where we're at. Now, this great dragon energy I spoke about, this energy is all encompassing. And I say that in a way that it overpowers any dragon energy, any beliefs. Thanks. So it overpowers any of this. And what it's used for is that you can access this energy in times when there are, let's say, other energies that were at play that may have an ill intent, or an energy that's already intact with a certain justice system that is corrupt. So this is important. If you need assistance in any judicial proceedings, you can, to a degree, dependent upon you, draw on this energy to rectify things. And the way it works, it is a divine energy, and the adage that God works in mysterious ways applies here. And with any of these divine prowesses, that is the way they do work, is in mysterious ways. We do not take a direct approach. What we do is we back up, we look at the energy responsible for creating the events. Then what we do is we either, let's say, take that energy out of existence by not letting it be energized anymore, and there is a time process with that. Or what we do is we will reveal, let's say, to the person that's having a problem with justice, we will reveal to them some documented evidence that will support their case and will show where the legal system is void. And you do this. One example is, for every law written to indemnify, or to, let's say, every law written to incriminate someone, more or less, there is another law written to get them off. So if you look at it in that respect, when you see these two laws and you know that they exist, then what it does, it voids the legality of the situation in the judicial system as well, because you cannot have a biased judicial system. And you can definitely, when you have the point of law, you cannot have varying degrees of that law that the public is not aware of. So what it does, just by knowing that, it empowers you beyond the judicial systems as well. So, hi, Jessica. And so, I don't want to get into that. I will say I'm well versed in law and legalities on the surface, to what I must be, and we'll just keep it simple like that. But let me say, that if you're in your purity and your morality and your full ethics, and if you're unjustly or wrongly accused, that have no fear of that, because you can draw on this prowess or whatever and just come out of these things with flying colors. And in a lot of cases, what is currently happening is that upon your first standing up against them by applying and saying the right things, they will drop any cases against you, because they know they cannot compete, because you are a divine one, and you are one also that they were worried about, in these times, this sort of thing coming, because when you begin tearing down their judicial systems and all of their societal systems, they know what's coming. And what is coming is the liberation and the freedom and the sovereignty. And, it disempowers them, because their intent was not pure, and it is no longer divinely supported. The only intent that is divinely supported upon the planet is the one of all good things and goodwill. And that is all that is supported. Anything that is of selfish nature, like by a judicial system, or anything with greed, any of those fear compounds, it will and is imploding. And they are no match for any of you. So sorry I rambled on a long time on that, but there's so much more I could say in that respect as well. So the dragon energy, the great white dragon energy, and I received that message the other night, that it is, for me to share with you that it is there, and it's for to utilize in matters of justice mainly, and harmony, and in places where anyone is unjustly being taken advantage of. So this energy is present upon the planet, upon the surface here, and I should say in this reality, and it is working continuously. So it is there, it's having cause and effect, and it's also getting behind the scenes, tweaking things up, just to keep it simple. So very powerful to have that energy here right now. And I know some of you are connecting with it, and are making that energetic bond, even though if you don't need it, it's there, how to utilize it in assisting others as well. And that's what this is all about too, You have access to a certain essence or energy. If you're able to transfer that to someone else and assist them, do it by all means. Don't hesitate. It just broadens the collective and empowers everyone as a whole. So it's great. Okay, I'll touch on there. With poor Mr. Trump there, there's paid there's paid touts against Trump, and many of you are seeing that so blatantly, what's being staged, and it is from the dark because they are very fearful, of this time, and they are doing, uh, know, uh, whatever they can try to do to prevent this transition into the new world, and Trump has embarked upon, let's say, a couple of those ventures to assure that comes into fruition. And, so what they're trying to do is stumble Trump, and they're trying to distract him, and trying to get him to say wrong things, or what have you. So they're, but what's funny about it and very comical is that their intent is very blatant. Someone at this time to see what's happening, they don't even need to be awake. Just some common sense will tell them, that there is something really strange going on here, and that assists with their awakening, when they get at that point. So it's comical. Trump has some things, that, and the way I'm giving it is that, divinity has supported, and there is the divine aspect of Trump that is there, that is in line with it. Now, there is a strategy, meaning that sometimes Trump is going to do egotistical and perhaps, bad things that it does not seem like it's in line with unity. But what you have to do, or what you should do, or perhaps if you feel you want to do it, is just do not look at that one dot, what Trump is doing. He might say something like, we're putting up these borders, keeping out them bad Mexicans. What you look at is, don't have a preconceived notion that he's bad by basing it on that one dot. Because what you must understand at this time, that divinity is here playing the biggest part of everything. So let me say, it could be possible when Trump said we got to put up that wall to get rid of the Mexicans, that he is nationally and even globally bringing such an action up to the public, so that the public, can more readily say that it's wrong to do this. So then what you may add in the future is that you have a public coming back to Trump saying, no, this is wrong to um, prejudice against any race or creed, for us to have world peace or what have you, in complete harmony. There needs to be no walls. So having said this, just jumping back, you know allow things to occur. Just, I suggest, don't have a preconceived notion on one dot, uh, especially with Trump's ego. And also, he's evolving as well, and has a certain inner work to do. So that does play a little part in it as we keep going along. But at the end of the day, everything is divinely assured. So again, I suggest don't make a calculation on one dot, because there are more dots coming in the future, and the more pieces of the puzzle you have, then you can get the bigger picture. By looking at one little piece of the puzzle, no, you do not know the full picture. So uh, observe, remain neutral, and have the good faith towards that is what I suggest. So Trump, he's his heart is there in the right place. He's using the right words in his speech, you know, the love and for the people. And, a good thing is he said he wants to make America great again. Well, what that means, it depends on each one's perception. For me, for example, the way I'm looking at it, yeah, America's got to be great here, right in this moment. You know, like JFK, what he started. And, this is what Trump is doing. So America is the domino that sets off the global things for the world. And it begins the new timeline. So there is a strategy, there is a tweaking of events that must occur, um, to lessen any chaos on the planet. So it's done in a way that you must have patience. And each one of you, I know you can say you've been waiting for years. Yeah, we know, but years here is not even a blink of an eye in our true existence of what we are. So it all works out, and maybe perhaps if you're able to have more fun while you're waiting here. And yeah, I with Father, I keep saying I want to go, and he said, no, you got to stay. Just perhaps not even a week ago, he said, there's some that are leaving, and no, I got to stay here at this time. So that's what I'm doing. So I stay, and okay, let's keep going on and doing what we're doing and building this thing bigger, and spreading the joy, the awareness, the knowledge. Okay. Well, I've been talking here for 31 minutes, and I only got a third of the way down the page, so I guess I better get on with some more of these topics. And Rosalind says, too many still drinking the Kool-Aid. Well, I don't know if you actually want to look at the Kool-Aid as just perhaps a veil that, each one has a different Kool-Aid. And whose Kool-Aid tastes better? I don't know. It doesn't matter really. But anyway, um, scars and symbols appearing on the body. Now, this is an important subject as well. We have mentioned this. I have not touched on this for perhaps, a couple or several years, uh, but I did mention it before, the pertinence of it. And to look at this is one understanding that it has to do with your multi-dimensional abilities. And to just perhaps give you a perspective, let's say when you go to sleep in the nights, your physical body is lying there. And if you're all alone, let's just say you don't know if your physical body actually stayed where you put it to rest, or if it went with you into another dimension, being actually there in the dream where you received a wound or whatever. And, you know, okay, am I back? Can someone just let me know here? Can someone let me know if I'm still